Roughneck Racing would like to thank our sponsor, Wagoner Welding. Wagoner Welding is a family-owned and operated business located in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. They specialize in custom-built truck beds and framework of all types. You can reach them at 336-670-3427 or visit the shop located at 446 DeHart Church Road.
Anthem, the Star Spangled Banner.
Alrighty, good evening everyone, and welcome to another night of Fligger Farm TV on the pole here tonight as we are at Watkins Glen for the James Wagoner Welding Gen 6 Series once again this week here this Monday evening. And as you know, last week we were having some problems here in the booth, and we spent from Wednesday all through the weekend messing with things, trying to get things underway, and it looks like we might have had a small PCU issue, or CPU issue, however you want to say it, here in the PC. Kind of was bottlenecking maybe a little bit, but we kind of went in and I overclocked it and boosted it some, so that hopefully is helping us out here tonight as we get underway here at Watkins Glen. We seem to have a field of hopefully about 15 drivers or maybe a few more. We're getting set to roll here tonight. Now it looks like we got 12, 15, 16, 17. Looks like 18 drivers on the grid as we're coming down to about 6.5 minutes left of qualifying here tonight. Hope everybody's in for a great night of racing as we hope to bring it to you here tonight. Looks like everything's running well. We're going to go trackside now to catch some of this practice going on. Rick Baldwin out here on track at number 19. He's coming down here. I got to learn these corners once again. If I can remember what corners are what. Here tonight. Hold on one moment so I can get my other camera pack loaded in here so I can tell what corner is what. Let's say it's this one. as we're looking here, looks like we have coming down the back stretch here, coming in the penultimate. So, and in the final turn, coming back down into turn number 1. Turn 2, and then into the S's, coming up the hill through the S's. Back out onto the back straight, heading toward the bus stop. Alright, so let me make a little note of this so I know what these are. We're going to switch back to the other camera view. We have one, two, S's, back, bus, carousel, and ultimate, and then final. Alright, that way I have my notes here, which turns what here tonight. And we'll get this switched back over to the other camera so that we can keep an eye on the track better. We're looking at Matthew Gall. He's coming down into penultimate now. Through the final turn, back down the front stretch we come, across the stripe. Here's Chris Phillips as he's coming up towards the bus stop. That's kind of what I figured. He was coming up out of the S's, coming towards the bus stop. They come through the bus stop, now back onto the back stretch here. Jeffrey Ledford trying to make up some time here. So far, the fastest one on the track is this guy here, the number 91 of Merrick Watchhorn. Sorry, as he makes his way around Watkins Glen for another time, but he's got the fastest time of a 1:11.760. So 1 minute, 11 seconds, 760. Rick Baldwin back here is third on the standing board with a 1:12.427. Jim Scott there in the number 38 machine. Pretty cool looking flames on that machine here tonight. Featuring the Crow, James Wagoner Welding there on the side of that machine. Again, James Wagoner Welding, a great sponsor to this group in this league, as you see them both here on Monday nights and Wednesday nights when we bring you the James Wagoner Welding Truck Series. Tonight, it's the Gen 6 cars. As we're on board here, with Jeff Scott coming off of the final turn up through the front stretch. Now we head down here in the corner number 1. Check on Chris Phillips here as practice is winding down. We've got about a minute 25 left of practice. As he's coming up through the S's. And on to the backstretch. Heading out for that bus stop. And the bus stop can get a little tricky as they come in entering here. And they come through the carousel down here through the penultimate. Now, I'm not sure how many viewers out there might be aware here in iRacing. There are a few different configurations here for Watkins Glen. One of them being the Cup layout that we're running here tonight. We've got the Historic Cup, which takes out the bus stop. So you pretty much run this same track, but instead of running the bus stop, you just pretty much keep straight on that backstretch. And we'll see if we can get somebody coming up through the S. There's the bus stop. So instead of making that bus stop, you come pretty much right through them cones back here and come straight down into the carousel turn. And it's, some of you Formula drivers might know that you don't come towards the penultimate here right away as you go down into what they call the boot. As you come out of the carousel, you'd head down into the boot. And we're looking here as he comes across. Looks like we're looking upwards towards the S's. If I'm looking at this right. As we're now in qualifying. As we'll see Chris Barker come out on track first for qualifying here tonight. As qualifying has started. And we got about 18 drivers, I want to say, being ready to start this one off tonight. As Chris Barker comes off of the S's up towards the bus stop in that Ninja Turtle racing machine at number 46 as he hits the bus stop pretty good. Now back down through, heading towards the carousel. As he comes through the carousel. Picking up speed, comes off and heading now to the penultimate. I know some of you viewers out there, you don't quite care for Watkins Glen, and I know there's some drivers out there that don't care for Watkins Glen either, being a road course. But out of the road courses, I think I like Watkins Glen the best when it comes to road courses here on iRacing. I just enjoy it. There are a couple other road courses that I enjoy, but they're not for the Cup or truck. You know, they're not NASCAR tracks per se. They're just other road courses that I've driven other cars on, like the Formula V's and things of that nature. As we're seeing Barker come through the S's. So we got, instead of our normal 2 sector times, as you see there on the bottom, we got 3 sectors here tonight. So as they come through sector 1, Chris Barker is quick through sector 1, slow in sector 2, and quick in sector 3 there that last lap. So we'll see if he can keep on pace with that as he comes down through to put in his first lap. And it comes down to penultimate. There you see Barker down there on the bottom of your screen. He's quick through 1. He's okay through 2. Watchhorn, though, quick through sector 2. Okay through 1. So they're a little different there when they come off. So how are they going to fare here as they come back down here into the second lap? And he's got an average time there for Barker has Watchhorn. Also with an average time for sector 3 as he heads out for his second lap. So Barker right now is your leader, or is your pole sitter here tonight with a time of 1:11.853. Watchhorn off track. And that's going to kill his lap there. So that lap will not count. Baldwin out here trying to put down his best time. He works his way through the corner. And that's one thing some of these drivers got to watch is that off track tonight. Because yes, they're not completely regulating it by DQ points tonight as they normally would on other race nights, you know, incident points here on iRacing, or what we call incident points. But here tonight, we're running what they have brought to us as Chris Barker still holds on to that pole. Baldwin comes down across the line, and Baldwin's going to lay down a 1:12.197. So that's going to lock him into third place at the moment. Chris Phillips with a 1:13.116. James Wagoner out on track in that number 30 machine, making his qualifying laps as he is off track. They're on his out lap, from what I can tell. So hopefully he gets it gathered up You see that big smiley face looking at you from inside that machine as he comes around to get his laps underway here with little under 5.5 minutes left to go here in the qualifying. Brian Hennings now moves up there into that third spot with a 1:11.967. Blair with a 1:14.729. Wagner, we'll see how he fares here. And as you see, that qualifying time down there on the bottom, that 1:11.853, that is the quick time so far tonight. As Wagner comes through turn one, up through the S's so far. Back out here onto the backstretch. Coming down towards the bus stop. Got to check this bus stop just right. You don't want to mess it up too much. Looking good as he comes off, getting a little bit of hop there off of the curbs as he comes down through the carousel. Once down through the carousels, we're on board with him as he comes off. He's heading toward the penultimate. And his left-hand turn. As he's quick through the first two sectors. He needs to try to get a little bit of speed, though, here out of Sector 3. And will he do it as he comes through the final turn? And no, he's still a little slow. Going to be about a 1:15 something coming across the line here. No time for Wagner as of yet. He tries to lay down a time this time by. Three and a half minutes of qualifying left. Hopefully everybody out there is enjoying here tonight. As we said before, we were having some issues there for a couple weeks with our streams, bouncing in and out, but with a little bit of help from another league and with the help from Noma TV, we think we got it figured out as we're underway here tonight. And everything's looking very, very smooth, running very well. Keeping an eye on my temps and everything. Temps look all good. PCU usage is down to about 60% instead of being clear up to 80, 85, pushing almost 90%. So we got that clocked in pretty good now. So a little bit of overclocking, a little bit of boosting help. As here comes Wagner off the corner. Kind of slow that lap as he still doesn't get a time. So no time for Wagner here tonight. And Wagner's not the only one that probably took a no time. I'm saying drivers like Johnny Hurst, Larry Fairman put down some sector times. Same with Jason Kinney, but unfortunately did not put down a lap time. And it looks like Sector 3 is what got them. Maybe. I'm not unsure on that, though. However, below 2 minutes qualifying left to go here tonight. Teresa out on track now. Got a minute and a half. I don't know if she joined late. I don't think she's going to have any time for a qualifying run. As it takes a minute and about a minute 15 average to get around the track. And so everything's looking good still so far here tonight. I want to thank all the viewers that have put up with me here the last couple of weeks, getting frustrated along with Fleeger Farm TV here as we've dealt with that gremlin from iRacing trying to put us out of business per se. But we're holding together and we got it back running tonight. Everything's looking great and can't wait to see how it plays out from here. We got 20 seconds to go here in qualifying, so I'm going to call qualifying done. And we'll take a quick look at our race info here tonight. I am your host, Adam Fleeger, here as your announcer, produced by Fleeger Farm TV on the pole here tonight. Track temp is at 76 degrees Fahrenheit. 74 degrees Fahrenheit is your ambient temperature. 45% is your humidity. Partly cloudy with 2-mile-an-hour winds here tonight. So here's our starting grid. Christopher Barker out front, there in first. Outside of row one is Merrick Watchorn. Brian Hennings there will start third with Rick Baldwin there in fourth. In third row with Matthew Gall starting fifth. Jeff Scott there in sixth. Row number 4, Chris Phillips and Jeffrey Ledford starting his outside there in 8th. Wyatt Blair will start 9th there in row number 5 with Benjamin Richards to his outside in 10th. Mark Kincaid there in 11th with Jason Kinney in 12th. And row number 7 is Brandon Hinton there in 13th with, and 14th is Chris Ramsey. Larry Fairman and 15th. Bailey Wagoner there in 16th. James Wagoner 17th. Edward Fiedler there in 18th. Johnny Hurst 19th. And in row number 10 tonight is Theresa starting there in 20th. And Matt Warhol will round out your field there in 21st. So we got a field of 21 cars here tonight, which, if you ask me, that's a pretty great turnout for road racing here tonight, as I've seen fewer cars here than that. So as everybody's lined up here for lap number 1, we might try to do our heated up segment a little earlier tonight, just so we can go and have it to where everybody's bunched up and ready to roll. All right, side by side here as we get ready to start tonight. Benjamin Richards jumped to the pits. Well, unsure what's going on there. Mark Kincaid, Bailey Wagoner did not take the grid. Christopher Barker is starting here on the inside, I guess. So I guess my no, maybe, wait a moment. I'm getting lost here. Where's the 91? The 91. Okay, so I was wrong. Flip-flop them starting grids as they are. Christopher Barker down there on the inside. Or what normally would be the inside. Or I guess, no, it'd be the outside. On a normal racetrack, it'd be the outside. But he's starting on the left side of the, or the right side of the track. Like, God dang it. All right, Benjamin Richards and Mark Kincaid sitting in pits, ready for the start of this race. They should be able to make up some time here tonight, as if they're sitting in the car ready to roll. When the green flag drops, they can start rolling down, and the field passes them. They can start rolling down pit lane and get back into the race here tonight. Try to see what Bailey Wagoner is tonight. That might be race control. Alrighty. As we're heading down here into corner number 1. Or I'm sorry, not corner number 1, but through the penultimate, back here to the final corner. Pace car is going to pull off, and we'll be green racing here in just a moment. So make sure them belts are pulled tight. Make sure them wheels are locked into position as pace car is off, and we're heading down here into corner number 1 as it is green flag racing as Barney waves that flag. Fred pulled that car onto the pit lane, and Barney up there waving that green flag. Here comes Chris Barker down here into corner number 1. Side by side racing as they come off, and look at the drivers as they are giving it all. Coming down here through the Essex, up the hill, and it's going to be Mark Watchorn now getting in front of Chris Barker. And that's what you're going to find out, is some of these drivers might be quicker in one section over top of another, and that's going to be what the difference that's going to be where the difference is made as they come down here to the bus stop. As Watchorn and Barker, 1-2 with Hennings there in 3rd, Rick Baldwin there in 4th, and Matthew Gall in 5th. Chris Phillips back here in 6th, Jeff Scott in 7th, Wyatt Blair in 8th. And we're going to do our best to keep an eye on everything here on Flicker Farm TV as we watch things here as there is no cautions here tonight. They're running what they call sector cautions, which means that if there's a caution in a turn, as long as that section is not blocked, racing will continue. Merrick Watchorn out here in front with Chris Barker 2nd, Rick Baldwin 3rd, Brian Hennings there in 4th, Matthew Gall 5th, Chris Phillips 6th, Jeff Scott 7th with Jeffrey Ledford 8th, Wyatt Blair 9th, Jason Kinney there in 10th. Those are your top 10, but Kinney getting around Wyatt as Wyatt Blair had some issues there coming through the corner. Now look who's trying to work his way up through the grid. There you see the number 30 of James Wagoner as he is up 5 positions from where he started. He didn't lay down a qualifying time here as he struggled in qualifying. But coming down here through the back stretch heading towards that bus stop, he's still making up some ground here behind the number 25 of Brandon Hinton. As Hinton now works through the bus stop down here into the carousel. Still out front, though, is Watchorn, and he's pulling away a little bit here from Rick Baldwin. And like I said, I don't want to get too strung out here. Otherwise, we might have a great shot at the heat it up here tonight. So we're going to try to heat it up here early as we're at Watkins Glen. A little bit of heated up as we're coming back through the bus stop. Brian Hennings trying to chase down the number 19 of Rick Baldwin as they're working through the carousel. And you'll see them starting to get a little bit gapped out here as we're on board here with Jeff Scott as he finishes through the carousel back down here into the stretch, heading into the penultimate. Down into the corner. And heading to the final turn. They're heading off of the track here tonight. See how this works here. If we can get a map up so you guys can kind of keep track on where your drivers are at. Normally we don't run a track map, but we're going to do so tonight so you can kind of keep track on the numbers if possible, unless they're stacked up. Now we're back on board here with the number 38 of Jeff Scott as he's coming up through the S's. Coming up through the gears as well as he comes up through the S. He's going to make sure he doesn't get too loose coming up through there, as sometimes the cars or vehicles that you are running can sometimes kick a little loose coming up through the S's down here into the bus stop. And there's another spot that I know can be a little tricky for some drivers. Down here in the corner, into the carousel corner. I want to say the final turn's turn number 8, but If I'm wrong, if somebody can let me know. And Jimmy Piling there tonight in the chat saying go Roughneck go. So carrying on the team Roughneck here is Jimmy Piling. Merrick Watchorn sitting here second now, as Barker did get around him. And they're coming up through the S's. Barker has put some gap between him and Watchorn. Rick Baldwin there, and as we're watching now a battle back here for 8th through 11th, as we're looking at Jason Kinney and at number 66 try to make a pass on to number 25, as he's right there. Now we're trying to keep an eye on the gaps and stuff to make sure we're keeping drivers in check. Now we're coming to the bus stop once again. The number 25 there doing a great job, as we're now looking at the 13 of Chris Ramsey, gaining on the 58 of Johnny Hurst. He's going to try to make a run here for a 13th. To put that 13 machine in the 13th spot. Meanwhile, side by side, almost coming off the corner, is Ramsey going to get the run that he needs. Coming down here into the penultimate, into this left-hand turn, and it looks like he's going to dive it in and get that position away from Johnny Hurst. Matt Warhol in that number 75, he's going to try, or 79, sorry, not 75, but the 79 is now there as well on the back of Johnny Hurst. They come down through the front stretch, and you can kind of see the gaps on the map, on the track map there, as the 46 is still out front. That is Chris Barker. And the 96 there in second, with the 19 of Rick Baldwin sitting third. Now we're on board with Johnny Hurst out of Corbin, Kentucky. He works his way up through the S's, up into the backstretch now, heading towards that bus stop. It's a technical track for some of these drivers. Some drivers may not be used to turning right, left. You know, some of them might be used to just turning one direction on an oval course. And most of the time, that's a left-hand turn. But tonight, we're throwing some right-hand corners into the mix. As, for instance, the carousel that they just come around there is a right-hand corner. A lot of these turns are right-hand. You're making more right-hand turns today than you are left-hand turns because of the way this track is configured. Now, if I think about it right, I believe Sonoma is kind of the same way. You're making more right-hand turns than left-hand turns. We're on board with Brandon Hilton now. As we come down into the S's, as they come up the hillside here. As you can hear them tires squealing just a bit. As he tries to get the traction, tries to keep the momentum rolling forward. Up off the corner. Heading towards down the backstretch, heading towards the bus stop. We're watching the 11th place driver of Brandon Hilton as he tries to climb his way up through the pack. And here comes that number 99 of Larry Fairman. He's in 12th, going to see if he can make a run for 11th position here soon as they come through the carousel. Everybody kind of just getting stretched out here more and more. We'll take a look back up front as the lead, lap for the lead has heated up. But Matt Warhol having issues here. We're going to come back and see what happened to him. Like we said, there is no cautions. So when we see something come up, we're going to do our best to catch it. As there you see the 79 getting loose in the corner. Kept it under control though. Got it stopped. We're back under where, like we said, we're staying green. Edward Fielder having some issues here as well. We'll take a quick look at him as he went off track. Let's see where, and yeah, he oh man, and caught that wall. That's not going to help him none. Benjamin Richards also having problems as he went to try to get in the pit lane. Oh, hey, you see the 56 trying to get the pit lane, and I'm not sure what happened there. Why he just all of a sudden just towed it. It says he jumped to his pits. I'm a little confused. Oh well, we're going to go back live. And we're on board with Merrick Wagoner as he's trying to chase down the leader. And we got Wyatt Blair having problems. Wyatt Blair having problems coming through the bus stop. I had to really check up as Teresa went off track. And you see the three kind of had to get out of it and then get back underway. And here we're seeing in front of him Teresa getting off track and then crash. A little bit of damage to the 70, but back on their way. We'll go back live now. As Wagoner is doing all he can to try to get back up there and chase down Barker. And I think this is going to be your two to beat here tonight, as they're out front by a great ways here tonight. As Barker doing great here, staying out front, but Wagoner trying to chase him down. So we got a Ford and a Chevy here in first and second, and we got a Toyota. That Toyota is driven by Rick Baldwin as he's sitting there in third. And fourth is the 74 of Hennings, as it looks like we already have some drivers maybe a lap down. Wyatt Blair in the pits, Benjamin Richards in the pits. Edward Fiedler coming in. We know he had some problems there, ended up going off track. And here we go, back for the battle for the lead again, as Barker's got the inside lane. Wagoner there on the outside as they come through that corner. Now he's got the inside coming through the final corner. I thought maybe we were going to watch a crossover. We still might see a crossover here, as Barker is right there with Wagoner coming down here in the corner at number one. They come down here. He's going to follow him through. Keep the car under him. Get back into the gas and up through the S's. Getting through them gears as quick and as best as they can, as Jeffrey Ledford went off track now. Here, Ledford. Another driver having problems in the bus stop. Barker is still trying to keep with Wagoner, and vice versa here in different parts of the race. The turtle machine is doing all we can to get up there and stay in the front. And hopefully everybody's enjoying the show here tonight for the James Wagoner Welding Gen 6 Series. And since we don't have cautions, I don't know if I can do brakes or not. So, I want to try to keep it as much green flag racing as we can here. As Teresa has crashed. See what happened to her as we were coming off the corner. Up through the S's, it looks like. Or, no, that's the final corner. Ends up spinning it around there at the entrance of pit road. Tough break there for Teresa. Baldwin still out, or Wagoner still up front with Barker there in second. Two very fast race cars here tonight out in the front, as we're seeing Rick Baldwin there in third with Brian Hennings back here in fourth. Chris Phillips there in fifth with Matthew Gall in sixth. And we're still looking at this as being the most exciting part of the racetrack here, between 10th through 12th position between Jason Kinney, Brandon Hilton and Larry Fairman, as they are all within a moment of each other. As there you see the 99 of Larry Fairman still working on that 25 machine of Kenny. Or I'm sorry, of Hinton. Hinton comes down here in the corner. Penultimate down into the final corner here at Watkins Glen. As we're on lap 13 of 40 here tonight. Still out front though is Watchorn and Barker. Brian Hennings coming up through. Bouncing across here. There you see Brian Hennings. There's Chris Phillips. Matthew Gall. Jeff Scott coming off the S's, coming up the backstretch. James Wagoner up to 8th. He's had a pretty good run here tonight so far, as he didn't have a qualifying time and had to settle for a no time during qualifying, but has worked his way up through it as up to 8th so far. Jeffrey Ledford here started 8th, now back to 9th. Jason Kinney up 2 spots. And hitting there in 11th. Larry Fairman 12th. Mark Kincaid there in 13th with Chris Ramsey 14th. Johnny Harris 15th. And coming down here, we got Barker chasing Watchorn down again. Now we're heading down here into the penultimate, into the final corner. And they are still battling it out in there. Back here, Matthew Gall maybe getting some company from Chris Phillips here in that number 6. As they come heading down here into the penultimate, we'll have to see. And as you see on the hood of that car, we can't forget about that sponsor either, and that is the Mag Real Estate. Jeff Scott there in 7th. Kind of running his own race at the moment. There you see that I think that was a lap down car. That's a lap down car of Edward Fiedler. Teresa lap down. Wyatt Blair, I think, called it a night. And Richard's sitting in the pits. So I do believe Wyatt Blair called it a night here. And we'll look whenever that screen comes back through. We got 20 drivers on the grid here tonight. Watchorn with Barker out. We're looking here with Brandon Hilton as he's working down through the final turn here, right behind Kenny, as he's been trying to gain on Kenny the last few laps. And the number 99 of Larry Fairman's falling back off of Kincaid a little bit, as Kincaid doing what he can to stay up here in that top 10. As Hinton is in 9th with Jason Kinney there in 8th. Jeff Scott started 6th, now he's back in 7th. As Chris Phillips started 7th and is up to 6th. Matthew Gall, of no change in position for him as he started 5th and is still currently 5th. As we're here with 25 laps to go here tonight. So a little quicker race here tonight for the James Wagoner Welding Gen 6 series here tonight. As Rick Baldwin here in third, Brian Hennings in fourth, Matthew Gall in fifth, Chris Phillips there in sixth, Jeff Scott seventh, Jason Kinney in eighth, Brandon Hilton there in ninth, Mark Kincaid there in 10th, as we're on board with them now coming down towards the bus stop. Or I'm sorry, they were coming out of the carousel heading towards the penultimate, heading towards the final corner now. As Chris Barker still sitting here in second, but for how long, that's going to be the question. As Theresa back off track again. That's Theresa and Fielder crashed. As Fielder comes down here into the corner. And kind of looks like he's going to lose it here in the penultimate. Try to figure out where Theresa lost it. Kind of the same area. Theresa off track. Matt Warhol off track. Iowa Christopher Barker there, still in second, trying to chase down Watchorn. And hopefully I'm doing an okay job bringing the field to you here tonight. As Larry Freeman's back here in 11th. Chris Ramsey there in 12th. If you guys have any concerns here with me at Watkins Glen and want to see a certain driver, let me know. We've got 23 laps to go here, and I'm trying to catch the best I can. And it looks like Kinney getting a little loose coming out of the penultimate down here into the final corner. As they come back onto the front stretch, Kinney fighting a loose race car, it looks like, as Hinton chases him down, coming down here into corner number 1, down the front stretch, and he is there. So Kinney cannot make a mistake here, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. As Hinton is there. And look out, here comes that 54 of Mark Kincaid, getting a great run to get around the 25 of Hinton. Now he's working on his way up into Kinney. As they come up through the S's, and a little bottle there out of both Kinney and Kincaid as they come onto the backstretch and down into the bus stop. Kincaid trying to get a run here into the bus stop, and oh no, they touch, and there's contact between Kincaid and Kinney, as Kinney now has to back out of it, loses positions. As Hinton has also crashed. Lots going on here through the bus stop this time by. As there you see the two cars in front getting into it here. And Hinton trying to get through. Gets into the gas a little hard and just swings it around coming into the carousel. Now there's Hinton working his way off of the final turn back onto the front stretch. Right here is Watchorn and Barker, and they're catching some lap cars. So how is this going to affect these two drivers up front? Can Barker end up using one as a pick? We will have to wait and see, as it's 21 laps to go now. As they come across the stripe. Here's Henning sitting fourth. Matthew Gall fifth, with Chris Phillips there in sixth. Jeff Scott 7th, Mark Kincaid in 8th, Chris Ramsey there in 9th, Larry Fairman in 10th, Jason Kinney 11th, Brandon Hinton having some trouble, ended up back here in 12th, Matt Warhol having issues here tonight, but is still up 8 positions from where he started. Johnny Hurst here in 14th, Jeffrey Ledford 15th, James Wagoner falling back a little bit as he is back to 16th, but we're staying there. That's Rick Baldwin into number 19. As he's getting around Wagner. So Wagner lap down here. Warhol in the pits. Benjamin Richards in the pits. Here comes Barker into the pits as Watchorn comes in. Rick Baldwin's coming in. Brian Hennings Looks like he's going to make the commitment line, and he's going to come into the pits. Matthew Gall, we'll see what he does. We saw Watchorn not come in. What's Gall do? Gall's coming in. Phillips coming in. Jeff Scott, it's going to be the next car that we keep an eye on, if he's going to come in this time or not. And yeah, it looks like everybody's making their way on a pit road, all except for Watchorn, who is currently working his way through the carousel and back around to the front stretch. And Barker's back down and away. Now here's going to be the interesting part, because we know Watchorn still has to go. We know he's got to come in for a pit stop. I don't know if he can make another lap if he tried. So he's got to come in. And here comes Barker now. As Barker's coming through the bus stop. Teresa off track once again. So Watchorn still on pit road. And here comes Barker down the front stretch. And here they come. And there you see Watchorn trying to hang on to it as he comes off of a pits. Barker coming down here off of corner number 1 up through the S's. He's going to be at speed as Watchorn is still trying to get up through the gears to gain speed. So Watchorn holds on to the lead for the time being. Chris Phillips off track. Baldwin sitting third. Brian Hennings there in fourth. 19 laps to go. Larry Freeman in fifth. And that Kodiak machine. Matt Gall. Jeff Scott in pit road. We got Brandon Hinton in pit road. Johnny Hurst now in pit lane. Chris Ramsey coming around in at number 13. He's going to complete another lap here in 11th. Going to actually move up to 9th. Jeffrey Ledford in 12th. 1 lap down. Yes, Southern Broadcasting Gaming Network there. We are at the Glen here this evening. And it looks like everything's running pretty flawlessly here tonight. And sorry there to the group. I just noticed that we have something awry a little bit. We're going to get that fixed quickly as we can here tonight. I'm not sure what exactly happened here. Not sure if that's going to come back online or not. We're going to try. And no, it has not come back online, so we'll have to work with that here in a moment. Just know up there in the left-hand corner should be the series logo, but unfortunately that's not there. But most importantly, we got the sponsors there in the right-hand screen. There you see Watchorn still trying to hold on to that lead as Barker is working his way up through. Rick Baldwin there third. Brian Hennings fourth. Matthew Gall there in fifth. Chris Phillips sixth. Larry Fairman seventh. Jeff Scott eighth with Chris Ramsey there in ninth. And we're climbing up a little bit on the processor here tonight. Doing okay so far. See if we can get it dropped back down again. So as Chris Phillips working down here into the corner. See if we can go and get things working out here. All right, here we go. It's back up again as we're lining down here. 15 laps to go. Christopher Barker coming around some lap traffic as Watchorn's already come by the 13 of Ramsey. So now up through 8 is now a lap down. We're coming down off of the final corner, down here onto the front stretch, and it is still Watchorn leading the way. Rick Baldwin back here in third. Barker, like we said, is there in second in that Ninja Turtles painted 46 machine. Brian Hennings here in fourth. Matthew Gall fifth. Chris Phillips in sixth. Jeff Scott in seventh. Chris Ramsey there in eighth with Larry Fairman in ninth. Brandon Hinton there in 10th. Jeffrey Ledford 11th. Matt Warhol there in 12th. Jason Kinney rolling around there in 13th. Joining her is 14th. James Wagoner in that number 30 machine. Not quite having the race he was hoping for as he's back here in 15th position. And he's got the 79 of Matt Warhol trying to get around him. That or Wagner's going around Warhol, one of the two. But Wagner has some work cut out if he wants to try to get some position. Back up front, though, it's still Watchorn and Barker. Here comes Baldwin. Baldwin kind of pretty much blocked into third place for the time being. Brian Hennings there in fourth. Matt Gall there in sixth. Well, I've apparently missed a crash here. I didn't catch it. We'll get to it now. Chris Phillips having problems in that number 6 machine. Coming off here into the S's. If I'm looking, oh no, I'm sorry, that's coming off of the, oh boy, what a hit there for Chris Phillips. That is not how to, somebody's got to replace the barrels there at pit road. And here we go. We're on board with Phillips as he comes out of the corner. Down here, the final corner coming here to the start. And just lost it. And he finds them barrels. And what a tough, hard hit there for him. And we saw the aftermath of that. That is a damaged race car up there on the nose of that machine. Now we're looking at Matt Gall here in 5th. 12 laps to go. Merrick Watchorn still out front as we're on board with him. Out of Leesburg, Virginia. Up through the S's. He's making some run there up to Jeff Scott, who was in 6th. So they're slowly coming up through the field from the back, as Watchorn and Barker are still trying to work on each other. Barker hoping to try to use one of these lap cars as a pick, I'm sure. Now we come back down through the carousel, back across onto, heading towards the penultimate. Down here into number 2, or I'm sorry, not corner number 2, this being a penultimate. And it's unfortunate these two drivers just have been battling a good race here tonight, and Jeff Scott did not really hold them up. He kind of slid over, let them on by. We're on board with Scott. Now we're heading down here into corner number 1. Shifting down a gear to get through that corner. The recess staying out of the way. We got Chris Phillips still on pit road, and just look at that torn up race car for Phillips here tonight. That is not how you want to end the Glen, by finding that pit wall the way he did, as we got 11 laps to go. Thank you everyone for tuning in here to Fleeger Farm TV. On the pole here tonight at Watkins Glen. Hopefully I'm giving everybody enough airtime here as we're watching Matthew Gall come through the trying to figure out where out on the track he's at. Okay, he's coming up the S's now. There in that My Grill Estate 78 machine, heading towards the bus stop. Here we're on board with Brandon Hitton, as Hitton comes down here towards the bus stop. There's Rick Baldwin as he's coming up to the 99 of Larry Fairman to put Larry Fairman down to him. Fairman staying to the right side of the racetrack, giving way to Baldwin. As Barker and Watchorn come up through the S's and heading towards the bus stop. And we're on board with Barker. Gotta hang on to it there, Barker. Don't lose it now. And as he comes off, he is heading down into the carousel. Rick Baldwin there in 3rd, with Brian Hennings in 4th. Gall in 5th. Jeff Scott off track once again. James Wagoner trying to move up through the field. He's up to 13th. There you go. Back on board with him as he's coming up through the S, coming around lap traffic. That is the 79, and he just went around of Matt Warhol. And you can kind of see on the map where everybody's at, as the 91 and the 46 of Watchorn and Barker are coming up, and it looks like their next car, it could possibly be a pit, is the 66 of Jason Kinney, if he doesn't move out of the way. But the way these guys are being here tonight, they are being extra courteous, as Edward has went off track once again. Back on track, Jeffrey Ledford back in the pit lane. There you see the 10 wide here to let cars around that may have been behind him. Aaron Barton and Baldwin. Baldwin, hang on to it as he comes through the bus stop. Down here into the carousel corner out of Roanoke, Virginia. Out of the carousel, down here into the pre-ultimate. I would say it's probably safe to say that Baldwin's kind of locked up 3rd place here tonight. Still kind of anybody's race up front, if you ask me, as Watchorn and Barker still battle it out. But now there's a couple lap traffic. That's going to help Watchorn out If he can get around the 01 here, that's the 01 of Jeffrey Ledford. Ledford Dyna needs to leave by, and he's going to cut the nose off of the 91 of Watchorn. I don't think he's going to appreciate that too well. Now he'll go out wide and let Watchorn by. Here comes Rick Barker then. The 01 of Ledford going to stay out wide. And here comes Kenny now. Jason Ledford back down. Chris Ramsey getting noticed for blinking. So a little bit of connection issues there, maybe for that Jack Daniels number 13 machine of Crams Ramsey here tonight. Back down here in the corner, into the pre-ultimate corner, heading to the final corner. 7 laps to go. We got 6 drivers still on the lead lap. Jeff Scott being the last one on the lead lap. As he comes up through the S's now. Our leaders coming up through the S's as well. As you can see there on the map. A 46 still stuck in between. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Jeff Scott is already behind him and a lap down. Matthew Gall would be the next one in line to go a lap down here in the number 78 machine. The 6 and 13 are on pit road. 3 in the pits. Chris Ramsey crashed. Go back and take a look at that as laps are winding down here. Here's Ramsey at number 13. Coming through the bus stop and just misjudges the bus stop. This isn't Tokyo Drift there, Ramsey, as he comes in and hits that barrier, jumps it to the pits. Watchorn out front, Barker there in second, Baldwin third, with Brian Hennings there in fourth, Matthew Gall in fifth, Jeff Scott in sixth with Brandon Hilton there, or Brandon Hinton, I keep wanting to call him Hilton, Hinton there in seventh, Larry Fairman on pit road in the number 99, Jeffrey Ledford in the ninth spot, just ahead of Jason Kinney. We got 5 drivers on the lead lap. Some pit stops going underway. Chris Phillips and Teresa both in the pit lane. Chris Ramsey lap down, but we are still going on here, and there we go. So Blair out and Bailey Wagoner sitting out. I think maybe she might be race control though. Mary St. Watchorn and Barker work their way through the bus stop once again. Baldwin comes up through the S's. And onto that backstretch heading towards the bus stop himself. Brian Hennings. And fourth. He's got 25, Brandon Hinton behind him. Matthew Gall is the next position. You can see by our map, everybody's spread out here at the Glen with 4 laps to go. Jeff Scott here in 6th, Brandon Hinton there in 7th, Larry Fairman in 8th. Jeffrey Ledford 9th, Jason Kinney there in 10th. Those are your top 10 drivers here tonight. But out front, it's still Watchorn and Barker trying to chase it down and figure out which one of the two of them is going to be your winner here tonight. We'll just take a quick gander here. We'll see which team. So Barker is on Foothills Motorsports, and Watchhorn is, I don't know. Still in the meeting room. So not sure if he's on a team or not, but he's in the same chat area as Mamati and others. Four laps to go, soon to be 3 laps to go as we're heading down here into the final corner for Rick Baldwin. Chris Barker through the final, out through turn 1. Hey, with 3 laps to go, they come back up through the gears, and as they're coming up, Matt Warhol crashed. Here with 3 laps to go. He comes down into the carousel. Or I'm sorry, no. Turn number 1. That's turn number 1. And Warhol goes around. Drivers trying to stay out of one another's way here tonight. Got to try to keep everybody going straight. Don't want to really screw up somebody else's race for them. Even though there was no cautions, there could still be a chance of a penalty for some of the drivers, as they were running drive-through penalties. So if somebody was in an accident and deemed at fault, they were going to get a drive-through here this evening, as we're getting some cars running a little side-by-side. That's the 01 and the 66 of Ledford. I think they're both on the same lap. They're in 9th and 10th. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Ledford's down 2. Kinney's down 2. So, yeah, they are on the same lap. There for 9th and 10th. So, it's going to matter. That is a battle for position between the 01 and the 66. As here comes Rick Baldwin up behind him. As it's 2 laps to go, soon to be 1 to go. Here we come out of the carousel up here into the pre-ultimate. Barker lost some ground here. And it's very tough to make up ground here at Watkins Glen. When you lose that ground, it is very, very tough to make it up. Now we're heading back down here into the final corner now. Coming across into the stripe for the last time. Merrick Watchhorn up here leading the race as the white flag waves here at Watkins Glen. Final lap. Chris Barker in second, trying to figure out if he can get anywhere with it. Rick Baldwin sitting comfortably in third. Brian Hennings there in fourth, with Matthew Gall in fifth as he's coming up into the bus stop. Look out, here comes the leaders as they're at the bus stop as well, coming around the carousel for the final time. And Matt's hoping he could stay on the lead lap and get one more lap out of this race, as here comes Watchhorn underneath of the 99 of Larry Fairman. Down here into the pre-ultimate. And yes, Matthew Gall will get one more lap around this racetrack as they come off of the final corner. He will be ahead of Watchhorn, so he's going to have one more lap to go. Matt Warhol is off track once again here tonight, and Jason Kinney has crashed. And it is Merrick Watchhorn for the victory here tonight. And we'll go back and we'll check out the crash from Jason Kinney. Unsure what happened to him as we were coming to the finish here tonight. We were coming into the bus stop. Looks like another one just misjudges it and gets into the gas a little too soon and swings it around, coming out of the bus stop. We got Watchorn doing burnout down here in corner number 1. He's going to bring it back around. There comes Kenny. So our race results are in. And it is going to be Merrick Watchorn there in first. Christopher Barker in second. Rick Baldwin comes out finishing third tonight. Brian Hennings there in fourth. Matthew Gall in fifth. Jeff Scott in sixth. Brandon Hinton there in seventh. Larry Fairman in eighth. Jeffrey Ledford there in ninth. Jason Kinney in 10th. Matt Warhol there in 11th. James Wagner in 12th. Johnny Hurst 13th. Edward Fiedler there in 14th. Chris Ramsey finishes 15th. Therese finishes 16th. Chris Phillips in 17th. 18th goes to Benjamin Richards. Mark Kincaid there in 19th. Wyatt Blair 20th. And Bailey Wagner there in 20th. So congrats to all the drivers here tonight. Alrighty, so we got Merrick Watchorn here, our winner here tonight. We can go ahead and start with him. Good evening, Merrick. How's it going?
Good, doing good.
All right. So everybody can hear you. Okay, that's good. All right. Great run out there. Were you afraid of Barker at all throughout the race, or?
Barker was definitely out there to give me a challenge, no doubt about that. It was a hard-fought battle between the two of us. Can't hate it any more than anything else. It was a fun race, awesome time. I think if I messed up again like I did at the early part of the run, Baker would have been there. So it's kind of good to know that, you know, no matter what, how it went down, I was able to recover and stay in the fight for the win. So this 91 Twig machine was definitely up front. It was here to make a statement and come out winning.
No, I definitely did, and hopefully that gives you a little boost here, getting a win here early on in the season, as we're only on race 3, I believe, if I'm checking my schedule correctly. And let's see, we are heading to Nashville next week. Am I seeing that right?
I believe so. That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, it's tiny on my screen, so I can't quite read it the way I want to. But yeah, congrats tonight on your victory here tonight. And who's your sponsor or anybody you want to give a shout out to for putting that one machine here on top?
I'll give a shout out to the Twig Machine, the Washer Innovations Group, the QSA, and just a shout out to the league and, you know, everybody coming out and, you know, showcasing the league and being part of everything. Roughneck, you know, being an awesome group of guys to come out. Wagoner for being on the Gen 6 series is a title. So it's awesome feeling, good feeling, and just out here having a good old time.
All righty. You think we'll see you next week at Nashville?
I hope so. It all depends on my schedule, really and honestly.
All righty. Well, hopefully it works out, and we'll see you next week, and we'll see you throughout the season, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was Merrick Watchorn, our winner here tonight. Let's see if we can find Barker or let's see here. Or Barker. Good evening there, Barker. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. You had a fight on your hands tonight to even come away with second.
Man, I'm telling you, I've been hoping somebody was going to show up and hand me an ass whooping. I've always kind of dominated this track here in this league, and they finally got one.
Well, he didn't finish too far out in front of you.
Well, he is extremely talented. Props to him. I have no excuses. I got to run my race exactly how I wanted it, and he's the man. He's very, very talented.
Well, you look like you had a handle on things at some parts of the racetrack, but kind of like I was telling the viewers, each section here, as the timing sections break down into 3 different sections here, it all depends on if you can hit the sections consistently, and that is not easy to do on a road course.
No, it's not. It's funny. A lot of guys have asked me a bunch. We'll just be talking about the race. What brake bias do I run? And I'm like, I don't even mess with it. Well, I actually talked to him a little bit before the race, and he was talking about adjusting brake bias, and I think that played a big part. I could tell he was braking way earlier than me, probably because he had more brake towards the rear. But in a lot of the turns, just like coming after the bus stop, going down the hill, he was just killing me down through there. He was just carrying so much more speed, like he could turn so much tighter.
Down through the carousel.
Yeah. I think brake bias played a part, but I ain't taking nothing from him. He like I said, he's extremely talented. I just actually raced with him probably 2 months ago over in Sheepdog, and he mentioned that he wasn't really a road course guy. And I guess he had just kind of jumped in, and he ended up winning anyway. But I was a little bit faster than him, and he's obviously been practicing. Yeah.
Well, and you guys still put on quite a show, and I mean, your sector times weren't that bad apart. Sector 2, as that section would be coming up the hill through the S's and on through the bus stop. Yeah. You were actually a little quicker than what he was.
Well, there was definitely, especially on good tires, there was parts where I would catch him and parts where he would pull away. But he definitely, for whatever reason, done a better job with tires. As the tires went, he was definitely doing better.
Well, he definitely had a. You might have been good in sector 2, but he was a little better in sector 1 and 3.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's what it boils down to. Is what sectors can you get?
I'm tickled to death with second. Like I said, I've always just I think I won the race here last year by 50 seconds. It was a good lesson to follow somebody like that. It was fun.
You definitely had a great run there tonight for that 46 machine. And who's your sponsors or shout outs you want to give here tonight for helping?
I got to shout out my teammates. Jeffrey, he's in here with me. Steven Shue, he is on vacation with his family, so he couldn't make it. My wife, she's in the house watching. She's probably biting her nails, or was. Just shout out to all the guys running this deal and James Wagoner for sponsoring it. And you also, you're doing a great job. And shout out to the new race control we got for Monday night. She's doing a great job.
Yeah, who's doing the race control Monday nights?
Her handle is the Pottles. I can't remember her first name. It's I'm drawing a blank.
Would that be Bailey Wagner?
No, I don't think so. Her name in Discord is the Pottles. That's her last name, I think.
Bailey Wagner in session that hasn't raced.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what her name is. It's I'm drawing a blank, but she's doing a great job.
But yeah, definitely. It was a fun race out front, watching you and Watchorn kind of battle, you and Watchorn kind of battle it out. Wasn't quite sure who was going to pull it off there, but as you said, as the tires kind of wore out, he got a little bit better tire wear, it seemed.
Yep.
So, congrats again on P2 here tonight. And what can you look forward to going into Nashville next week?
I don't know if I even own that track, to be honest, sir. I'll have to just check and see. I don't think I've ever ran it.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's
gotta get some practice in. Track. Yeah, maybe Watchorn won't run Wednesday night. Maybe I'll have a shot at that one. We'll see. There's some fast guys over there in the trucks too, so we'll just see how it plays out.
Well, they're completely different animals, as we all know.
I'm taking a vacation day tomorrow to just run laps just because of that. It's so hard to get past the muscle memory of this after you've run so many laps and then hop in the trucks.
Well, yeah, like I've heard from so many different drivers going from a Gen 6 to a truck, there is no comparison between the two.
Yeah, the guys that only run Wednesdays is going to have a big advantage for sure. So I just have to, run my race and see what happens.
Well, I mean, you have a little bit of advantage. You kind of know what the layout of the track is, so you know what's coming up next. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
can you carry
I've
the
run so many
speed.
laps here. I got to be honest. I was adamant about them keeping it on the schedule this season. I hope they pick something different next season. I'm kind of tired of it, to be honest.
Well,
But
see, out of the road courses, I enjoy Watkins Glen the best out of the road courses.
it
There
is the
are a
best, yeah,
couple
for
other
sure.
road courses that I might enjoy a little more, but they're not NASCAR road courses.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. Well, I won't keep you too long. I know you got a job to do.
Alrighty, well, Chris, have a great night, and congrats on that second place finish.
Thank you.
Alrighty, now let's see if we can find Rick Baldwin. Good evening, Rick. How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. You just kind of kept your pace and ended up coming home third tonight.
Yeah, I had a real good time. It was lonely at points, but the racing in the beginning was really exciting. Henning and I kept it clean through the bus stop, so I hope you caught that on camera. That was really fun. I appreciate everybody racing clean out there.
Everybody was doing the best they can to stay clean and keep the car straight. I know some drivers had a little issue with the off tracks, and I know a couple drivers had some issues here and there, and I forget which one it was. Oh yeah, Chris Phillips in the number 6 machine. He took a header into the pit road barrels, which kind of
Yeah, it's hard to not make mistakes, especially for 40 laps. You start losing the zone.
So I mean, and that's true. I mean, 40 laps here at Watkins Glen, it is a lot to handle. But all the drivers did a phenomenal job tonight, and you just kind of pulled off a little bit of luck having it on your side to pull off a third here tonight.
It was good, clean racing, no mistakes that got me third tonight. That's what it takes to get on the podium at Watkins Glen.
Mm-hmm. Consistency.
Yeah, that's right.
Alrighty. Well, who's your sponsors or shout out you want to give tonight here for helping get into that third position podium tonight?
My teammates who were practicing together had a good time preparing for this race at Social Outcasts. Dougie, Jeff Scott, Matthew Gall, couldn't ask for a better group of guys. And thank you to Wagner's Welding and everybody makes this happen on admins and broadcasting. I appreciate everyone. Thank you.
Oh, we definitely appreciate it. And definitely was great racing out front there. I know Watchorn and Barker definitely battled it out quite a bit throughout the night. And it was interesting to see how it was going to come down there at the end. And unfortunately, I think a few lap cars got in between them. But congrats on your third place, and we'll see hopefully we'll see you at Nashville next week, and hopefully you can bring some excitement there too.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Nashville. Oh, another shout out, MAG Real Estate, San Antonio, Texas. Thank you. Thanks.
Alrighty, well thank you, Rick Baldwin. We'll see you next week at Nashville.
See you there.
Alrighty, that was Rick Baldwin, our third place finisher tonight. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the broadcast. You notice we went flawless again tonight. So I want to give a shout out definitely to Old Glory and those guys over there who helped me kind of diagnose my settings last Wednesday night, whenever we were running the Old Glory race. And found out that it was a little bit of PCU hang up or CPU hang up. Ended up catching it, and we ran that night okay. The following night, I went and sat Thursday night and spent hours sitting here going through different settings and learning how to maybe overclock or boost the CPU, overclock and boost a graphics card. So I think my settings right now through MSI Afterburner, I think my GPU sitting at about 50% boosted. My CPU through some sort of Asus program is sitting at 200% boosted. So, and everything's running fine, running well. So I just keep an eye on my temps and everything, being that I'm only air cold, not liquid cold. So got to keep an eye on them temps. But we're running phenomenal here tonight, and definitely was a great night of racing here with the James Wagoner Welding Gen 6 series. And gotta keep giving them shout outs there to our league sponsors of James Wagoner Welding and MAG Real Estate. Without them, that we wouldn't really have much of a show here And we're continually gonna keep looking into here for station sponsors as well, as we might have one on the hook. But if anybody would love to see would love to sponsor Flicker Farm TV on the poll here, we would definitely appreciate that. Just reach out to us at flickerfarmgaming@gmail.com, and we'll be glad to hear from you. And or if you have any comments for future streams or any ideas to help us, definitely check us out there at flickerfarmgaming@gmail.com. But other than that, everybody have a great night. We definitely appreciated everything and can't wait for more races to come.
Roughneck Racing would like to thank our sponsor, Wagoner Welding. Wagoner Welding is a family-owned and operated business located in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. They specialize in custom-built truck beds and framework of all types. You can reach them at 336-670-3427 or visit the shop located at 446 DeHart Church Road.